That evening they celebrated their 5th wedding anniversary. In the morning, he presented an expensive gift, a gold ring with a diamond. The husband did not indulge in jewelry, but many guests were expected in the evening. An excellent opportunity to boast of generosity and hint at considerable income. The feast in the spacious apartment lasted until late at night. The husband drank heavily, danced and flirted with all the women indiscriminately, occasionally disappearing from sight with one of them for a short time. The people left only at 2 o'clock in the morning, and the unmarried Iraka, who was the most unrestrained in drinking alcohol, was left sleeping on the huge sofa in the living room. She lives in the apartment opposite, and often drops by as a good neighbor. What are we going to do with her? The husband asked, swaying in bewilderment, looking with curiosity at his smooth hips, barely covered by a miniskirt. Victoria did not dare to instruct him to carry the unconscious burden along the long corridor of the entrance. He could barely stand on his feet anyway. She thoughtfully approached the sleeping girl and mechanically straightened her skirt. "Pick her up and hold her in your arms," Vika commanded decisively, "and I'll spread out a sheet and throw a pillow, and she'll spend the night here with us." Seeing with what desire the husband put his hand under the neighbor's body, with what reverence he carried out the order, she suddenly thought about playing an amusing game, and, having laid out the bedding, decided to play. "Well, put it down. Why are you standing there like an idol?" she smiled, picking up a plate from the table. "Undress a person. You don't have to sleep in clothes." "Undress?" the husband asked in fear. "What's terrible about that? Or don't you know how?" "Well, do you want me to undress? And you do the dishes? Okay, I will try." He shrugged his shoulders, sat down on the sofa, and with naughty fingers began to unbutton the buttons of his light blouse. Victoria shuttled from the living room to the kitchen and carefully watched what was happening. There was no point in watching, even while working on the blouse. The husband strove to touch and feel Urka's tempting parts of the body. Having finished with the dishes, Vika turned off the overhead light and turned on the floor lamp standing by the sofa, illuminating the sleeping girl well, and, smiling mysteriously, went to the bathroom to take a shower. She returned and found her husband doing the same thing. He undressed his neighbor carefully and leisurely, as if enjoying every minute of the entrusted sacrament. "Well, why did you stop?" And then, she slowly walked towards the sofa. Despite a fair amount of alcohol, he understood the sensitivity of the situation and was at a loss. The young, unfamiliar and absolutely accessible body attracted and at the same time discouraged the unusual loyalty of his wife. He obediently pulled off his tights. "Be bolder. What are you afraid of taking away from her?" Victoria wrapped her arms around the man's neck. "Why are you delaying? Look how pretty she is." Stumbling upon a dully amazed gaze, she hastily explained, "This is my gift. You weren't stingy when you presented me with such a wonderful ring, were you? And I have to thank you with something, right?" The last argument turned out to be decisive for him. Biting his lip, he nodded. "Well," but Victoria didn't stop there. She didn't care about her drunk neighbor. She was interested in the degree of decency of her loved one. "I'm there and I don't mind, which means it's not considered cheating, right?" The husband finally believed in his wife's theory. Relaxed, Vika sat down on the edge of the sofa and shuddered when she saw her husband's burning gaze. "Stop it! Stop it immediately!" She wanted to scream and stop the damned experiment. "Do you really miss me? My caresses?" And yet she restrained herself, only biting her upper lip. Carried away, he paid almost no attention to his wife, and so, smiling bitterly, she still hugged him and waited for the outcome of her experiment. A quarter of an hour later, emerging from under the tight streams of the shower, Victoria cautiously looked out of the bathroom and saw the culmination of her desperate idea. 2 days later, Vika filed for divorce.